This podcast is a casual conversation about mental health. All topics discussed are based on our own personal opinions and should not be interpreted as professional advice. If you need assistance with your mental health, please contact a healthcare provider. I'm overstimulated. Expect the long-awaited abolition of my brain.
But if mentally we synchronize, despite what we despise, there's a chance that maybe I won't go insane. Hi, friends, and John.
Hello. And John, that's me. I'm John. Hello.
Yes. Welcome to Mental Sync, the only show where we teach you organization hacks but do not follow through on them ourselves.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Something I thought would be cute today was for me to not at all organize my room.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't laziness. Why would you say that? No, this was set dressing.
Yeah.
I had a whole team in here setting. No,
Yeah,
it doesn't
we
look
have
like
enough
that
money
normally.
to pay for a set.
We've got my whole crew is standing by outside. They're just like, is this enough of a mess, sir?
Did
And
you
I'm
know
like, it's fine. Get out of
this
here.
is not actually John's apartment. This is a set.
No,
This
is a set.
In like Brooklyn somewhere. Just
no, we're in the middle of LA. But we've got LA traffic or New York traffic sounds playing outside
because
to
the traffic
set the
sounds
scenery.
in New York and LA are very different, aren't they?
Absolutely. Anyway, back to the episode.
We are going to be talking about cleaning and organization.
Yes, but before we get into cleaning and organization, I actually wanted to give a little follow-up from the party and social anxiety episode that we had, because since we recorded that episode, which was a little bit ago, because we took a week or two off from recording, I
think it was 2 episodes ago, though, right? Wasn't it episode 3?
It was 2 episodes ago, yeah. But I've been to 2 different parties since recording that episode, and what's fascinating is one of them was a like friends only, like super low key, just someone's birthday party. People I knew, people I didn't know, but like ultimately very small. And the other was one that I went to last night, which was like our friend who works at a bar, that bar, or like for a company, they held this like event that was like a just bring your friends, free food, free drinks,
free is nice.
Free is for me. And both events gave me intense social anxiety. I thought that I would thrive better at the low key, just some people and like, you know, but I didn't. It still gave me anxiety, and something that I'm still exploring and working on, like coming to terms with, is I think as a result of a lot of things, I think I'm becoming less of an extrovert than I used to be, because I used to really consider myself an extrovert.
I would have said you were an extrovert knowing you in high school.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is I think, you know, to not to put myself on a pedestal in any way, but I think I'm socially skilled. I think I have social skills. I think I'm good at talking to people. It's just one of the things I've worked very hard on. But naturally, like just in terms of what I need as a person for energy, first of all, I've done a lot of work in terms of becoming more comfortable in my own brain.
Yeah.
And so I've started to really like actually enjoy my alone time, which we've talked about.
Right. Which is good. That's a good thing to...
Which is good. On top of that, I think I'm still feeling the effects of quarantine. We're a year... Wait. It's 2022. No. Oh my God. We are almost 2 years out of quarantine. Like quarantine was 2 years ago. It's June right now. And it's June 2022 right now. And that ended in August of 2020. So we're almost 2 years out of the quarantine. And I am still feeling how my social battery was drastically affected. I mean, because we're still in COVID. And so going out has still been
impacted slightly. Yeah.
Yeah. But I am still feeling this insane anxiety about like going out. And
I actually just heard somebody, I think it was on the radio actually, say something very similar. Like, you know, we were stuck inside for so long, and even after technically like quarantine was over, we
Mhm.
still stayed in just because of it was still very prevalent in the community, like
Yeah,
COVID.
for sure.
And they said the same thing, that they're like, I have a hard time like going out now. Like I don't like I've spent so much time isolated by myself that I'm like I feel like I'm stuck sometimes and I don't want to do anything. So I think a lot of people can relate to that.
It's very interesting. It's yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting update because I was like, oh yeah, I have a hard time at loud parties, but I thrive at quiet parties, and I was like, oh, I don't think I do anymore. Hanging out with my friends is like carbs energy. Like it gives me energy,
Yeah.
but
It
if I'm
doesn't last.
only
Yeah.
right, if I'm only doing that, it's not fulfilling energy. Like I need that real alone time
Yes.
to actually recharge.
Right.
Otherwise I get really anxious and really grumpy, and it's wild. It's
Yeah.
just
There's
yeah.
definitely like a fine line that you're like walking and trying to figure all of that out when it comes to social anxiety.
Yeah. And one of the things that I really like to do, one big reason that I really like spending so much time by myself is because when I'm by myself, I can take care of my own things. I can take care of, projects that I want to take care of. And especially, I can work on cleaning and organization,
Yeah.
bringing it right
There
into
you go.
today's
That was
topic.
beautiful. Loved
That
that.
segue.
There you go.
Uh, I love spending time to myself and just being like, I'm just going to organize my desk right now. I'm just going to organize and clean up a little bit and just get a little bit of that satisfaction from being productive, not in a career sense, but in a life
Yeah.
sense, that life
Yeah,
productivity.
absolutely. And I think this is different for everybody, because for me, no matter what the cleaning is it's always a task. So
Mhm.
I'm
Oh,
always
yeah.
I'm always struggling to want to like organize. And I think I've shown you this before, but like for example, I am very
Mhm.
organized and my space is clean in a sanitary aspect. Like
Yeah.
everything is like clean. And here is an example of organization. It's like half
Show me.
organization. Ready?
Uh-huh.
So here I make jewelry, if anybody didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
All of my beads are color
Look at that.
coded or by shape. Like these are all chip beads.
Oh, wow. For
But
those of you just listening and not watching,
true.
Emily has what I would call a clear tube with several tiny little tube-esque containers holding beads, all organized by, I would imagine, color,
Color and
shape,
shape and material and like very very
material,
intense
preference.
organized. Yes, these are like
Are
larger
they ranked
beads.
by Are they ranked by favorite?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I'm just
No,
kidding.
some of them are.
Are they really?
Yeah. Like these are all pink ones. And this is my favorite type of material up there up top. So
I love that.
but like as I'm
Wow.
grabbing all of these beads off of my desk, I hope you are realizing that
Wow. She has a handful,
this isn't even all of
guys.
them.
An
No,
armful.
armful. Yeah. This
Yeah.
isn't even all of them, but you know where they're not supposed to be?
Tell me.
On my desk. Like I have a whole ass like little container right here that they go in, and there's still even like like look, there's all these little ass containers of like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
beads,
Yeah.
and there's like chains over there and
Oh
like
my god.
wire, but like
You guys got to tune into the video for a second if you're
I
not, just to
to see me holding
take
my
a look
beads.
at Emily barely. This is a good metaphor for just how our mental health is going at the moment.
Barely holding on.
Barely.
I've got a grasp of it all, but it might fall apart at any moment.
Just by a thread.
Anyway, but back to my thought about
Anywho.
this
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
again beads very organized by color, shape, size, preference, whatever I want to do with them.
It's
And
beautiful.
thank you. I'm glad you
Yeah.
appreciate my efforts.
Of course.
However, they're not in the right place. So like
Oh.
it's like a half it's like a half organization step where like all
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
are organized but not put away. So I have a
Yeah.
lot of like
I know where
clutter.
they are.
Yes.
I know where
If
to get
anybody
them.
tried to put them away, even though they have like a designated spot, I wouldn't know where. They like out of sight, out of mind. Like if you put them in that box, if I put them in that box, you know what I would never find again? all
Is
of my beads.
that
Like, I heard that
Yeah, no,
reference
I get
once.
it. I
I
totally
I,
get
like,
it.
heard that reference once about people with ADHD is, like, out of sight, out of mind, and I was like, "That's not me." But, like, then I think about it and it's like
It's
and
100%.
this is,
Because
like,
in
gonna
the
sound
moment, you're justifying, like, "Oh, I'll remember that it's there because logically that's where it would go." And then that thought just goes gone
Yeah,
out of your
no, no, for
mind.
real. So, for example, like literally this happened to me yesterday. So, I about a week ago, I bought a lottery ticket and I won like $10. So, I took the $10 and
Oh,
I
sick.
like didn't have my wallet on me at the moment, so I like put it in
Uh-huh.
the center console in my car cuz I was like whatever, when I get out I'll remember to take it. And yesterday I opened up that center console to get a napkin and was like $10 as if like I didn't know that I put it there. I was
See, but
like
that's the best part
that is
about having ADHD is getting to leave yourself little presents because you're so forgetful. That's the
That
best.
is it's true, it's true.
Oh, it's amazing.
But yeah, so, I mean, that if that doesn't explain my cleaning habits, like, right there, then, I mean,
Yeah,
enough of that, right? Like, end of episode, that's how I organize. But,
for sure.
I guess,
Man.
one of the things you had mentioned, and I'll let you touch on it, is definitely how, like, my segue into it, I guess, would be that, like, if my space is a mess, there's 2 things going on. 1, I'm not, like, mentally in a place to clean it,
Mhm.
because otherwise if I was, I'd be living like the people on clean people TikTok where they have like
Yeah, oh, yeah.
everything spotless. There's like not even like a speck of dust anywhere.
Oh, my house would look like a vacuum commercial.
Yeah.
It's
Yes. But if my space is a mess, you know that I'm probably like 1 going through it, or 2 completely overwhelmed with the rest of the things that are going on in my life, and that
Mhm.
takes like second place. Because if I come
Yeah.
home, I'm like I'm done for the day. I'm like all right, I'm going to bed. So, I think and this was you actually said this. It was the whole like messy brain is messy space equals messy brain type of a thing, and I
Yeah.
think it goes for like saying like when you said it was all like yeah, if all everything's a mess, I might be more of a mess brain wise and not feel as great than if I have like a clean and organized space. And that is very true for me. As soon as everything is cleaned or like even just organized, I automatically feel like I'm like
Yeah.
ah, like this feels better. I feel like I can move around and I can do things, but I genuinely struggle with the motivation to get things done. And just not it's not because I'm lazy. It's because
No, no.
it's this whole like metacognition of like creating lists of like what do I start with? Where do I go? Like
Mhm.
how long will it take me to do this? Is it going to take me forever to do that? And I just like I really really struggle with like especially when it gets like to a big mess with organizing those thoughts to try to be like okay, first I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do this. I that is
Yeah,
literally one of
the
my skills. Thumbs down
Yeah,
skill.
thumbs down skills. Yeah, the prioritization of it is what's really hard because, like, I find that, when my room and my space gets especially messy is usually when I'm like working a set job, like an assistant job, especially because I'm just like, in terms of what I have to get done, like
Yeah.
when you're in a space, when you're in a place in your life where you're like, trying to hold it together which is for most of us like most of the time I
Yes.
feel like in this day and age
Just about
uh
like daily.
just daily just
Just my entire almost 26 years of existence.
yeah. But you're trying to hold it together, and so you do, and I think it's healthy to some extent to recognize like I don't have to clean this right now, like
Right.
this is okay, I don't need to be that hard on myself about everything. And there's also a huge difference between things being clean and things being organized.
Yes.
Like clean, I would say is a little bit more of a priority because that's where like health and like
Correct.
sanitation,
Yes.
hygiene, like that's where that comes into play. Where if you've got if things aren't clean, you know, if you've got like food around that could bring in bugs and animals, and
Yeah,
if
and I
you
mean, let's just state because I am guilty of this. I would just like to
mm.
clarify. If you leave like something out for like a day, like no big deal. But like once
Oh
it's
no,
sitting
no,
there for
don't beat
like
yourself up about it.
right, because I'm the type of person who gets a coffee every day. And then day number
You
2, day number me. Day number 2 when I get my new coffee, I come in and that old coffee cup is there, and then that's usually my key to be like, "Gross." Like, I go throw it
Yuck.
away. But, like, and it's not that there's a lot of coffee in it, but just the fact that, like, even if there's a little bit from the
Yeah.
melted ice, because I only drink iced coffee, it's like a personality trait here in Massachusetts. Like, it
Right.
could be 5 degrees and it's always iced coffee. It's,
Always iced coffee.
if you're
Um,
drinking hot coffee in the winter in Massachusetts, you're not from here. I'm not from here, but I've assimilated. So, this is
that's
this is what I've learned.
I can't relate personally. Sometimes you just need a hot drink.
Gross.
It's
That sounds awful.
but yeah, like I'm not saying be hard on yourself, and but there's a little bit more of a pressure on keeping things clean.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
don't want mold to grow anywhere. You don't
Right.
want, that affects your quality of life in a much more direct
Oh,
way.
absolutely.
Having dust build up, all of that. Whereas I could leave a pile of books on the ground.
Right,
Not
right.
that I have a pile of books and clothes on my floor
Prove
right
it.
now.
No, I'm just kidding.
I can't prove it. But it's fine there. It's and that's ultimately why I think we automatically give a pass to things like that, because it's like it's fine. It's not hurting anyone. It's
Right,
not
it's not growing
making
mold.
anything worse. But it's the little ways that I look at it, and it just stresses me out a little bit. And the
Yeah.
reason it's there right now is because I threw it all there on the ground,
Right,
because I had
right,
a lot of
right.
stuff on my bed and I wanted to sleep last night.
Yeah. So you moved
Hopefully
it
would.
because
So I moved it. I just threw it on the ground because I
right.
got home late and
Yeah.
did not want to clean my whole room. And that's fine. And it gave me, in the moment, being disorganized was the mental health like euphoria that I needed a little bit.
Right.
I needed to just feel like I need to not stress about this right now. I need to just throw my shit on the ground and be fine with that. And I think that's actually healthy to an extent.
Yes.
I to an extent. I think it's really, really healthy to give yourself those little breaks and say, like, I'm not gonna clean this right now.
Right. And I think
As
that's part of, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think that's part of
no.
like that self-compassion and self-care that you have for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like it's okay that like I'm the same way. Right now there's a bunch of stuff from my business that's like on the
Hmm.
floor, right? Because I have to pack orders all the time, and so there's boxes and also getting
Yeah.
inventory in, like, sometimes I'll open all these boxes and I'll try to keep all of that, like, the packing paper, the packing peanuts, and the bubble wrap in the box it came in while I pull everything else out, like, I'll try to do that, but sometimes that box sits there for, like, a week,
Yeah. Yeah.
and but sometimes that's okay, you know, like, it's
Yeah.
okay that sometimes I don't have the time or the energy to pick that box and walk it across the, because living in an apartment, it's not like my trash is like in the front of my house or behind my house. Like I have to walk all the way
Right.
out and across and go throw it away in a specific spot. So to keep that there for a week is there's no harm done, and to be able to be like, it's okay. It's okay that that's there is part of like being compassionate for yourself and kind of allowing
Yeah.
yourself a break because I mean, we're all busy this day and age. There's like,
We're
I
all
wouldn't,
busy.
we're all
There's
busy.
a
We
lot
all have a
going
lot
on.
going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And it's, yeah, you have to weigh the effect and the consequences of doing one or the other, because the consequence of throwing your stuff on the ground and getting to it tomorrow might be, I feel like most of the time, is much, much less than the consequence of the stress you're going to put yourself under, or the stress you're going to put on yourself for trying to stay up a little bit drunk at 12:30 a.m. cleaning your room.
yeah.
Like,
And
that's going to have more of a lasting negative effect than
yes.
just doing it
And
tomorrow.
that's actually something, not necessarily in relation to cleaning specifically, but that's something that I experience that I have like a little struggle with in general is like sometimes I come home from like a long day, like for last night, for again, this is a daily occurrence for me, is I'm always struggling with what can I get done today versus
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yep.
And last night I felt this pressure to get all of my orders packed for my business. And I was like, I have to get it done. I have to get it done. But then I'm thinking like, okay, but the post office doesn't close until like 6 tomorrow. So, like, and I have time to do it tomorrow, but there was this pressure where I just want it off my plate. I just want to get it done.
Yeah.
And but to have that compassion for myself in the moment to be like, it's almost midnight. I'm not going to stay up for 3 hours packing like
Yeah.
12 orders. Like there's no way. And one of those orders has like maybe like 70 individual items in it that I have to bubble wrap and tape, and like that takes
Ugh.
its enough time in itself. So, um I had last night luckily the compassion to be like, it is late. I'm exhausted. I didn't sleep well the night before. I'm going to go to bed. And I think that's really important, but I'd also like to say that I'm someone who sometimes with that box on the floor, I beat myself up about that box being on the floor. Like, I'll sit there and
Yeah,
in my mind,
it's hard.
I'm like, "Oh, it's there. I gotta clean it up. I can't believe I didn't get to it.
I
I
can't,
didn't,
what's wrong with
like,
me?
how come I haven't, like, taken
Why
this
am I
out?"
like
And then
this?
no, literally, I feel that way
Yeah,
sometimes. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sitting there looking at it and I'm like, it literally would have taken me less than 2 minutes maybe to walk across the parking lot and go throw this away. So I think there's a balance, especially for someone like me who like struggles to not beat myself up when it comes to like cleaning an organization, but also being like, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. So I'm constantly struggling with that reminder of like, it's okay. Tomorrow's a new day. You don't have to fit 70,000 things into today. You've already accomplished a lot. If cleaning's too much for you right now, so be it. Like,
Yeah. I mean, that's a running theme in the podcast is
right,
just, it's important to try to make those improvements. Part of making those improvements is not being hard on yourself and
right.
understanding that you're just a person. You're just a dude and you just got to go easy on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um that said, something that has really helped me in terms of improving those habits is a philosophy I'm sure most people have heard. But it's the idea of looking at a task.
Hmm.
Whoops, hit my mic. Looking at a task, knowing that task is like something that needs to get done, stressing you out, but maybe you're tired, maybe you're whatever, and just kind of going by this rule of will this task take 60 seconds or less? If it will
That's a
take
good
60
idea.
seconds or less, do it now.
That's
You're going to
true.
feel so good about it, which is has helped me with a lot of general procrastination in terms of sometimes I'm just lying in bed and I'm like, I gotta go to bed, but that's gonna require me to get up and turn my lights off. And sometimes I will just stay awake because I cannot, I'm putting off literally turning off my lights
Yeah.
and getting into those general organization habits of it takes 60 seconds, let me just do it now, actually helps stuff like that too.
So I think too, just to make you feel a little bit better about that, I think you're just overdone when that's happening. Like we're all just
Nah,
so overwhelmed that it's like, oh, I need some sleep, but that light's on, and I don't want to get up. Like
a tad
that's like we're just
overcooked.
you know, a little
Well,
exhausted.
that's why
My
now I have an app on my phone that just
I
turns off
was
my lights.
just about to say, if you can afford an Alexa, I won't say it too loud because mine will go off, or some type of thing that can control your environment, that might be
Yeah.
helpful if you can afford something like that.
I mean, I even get those LED Wi-Fi connected bulbs from
Yes.
like Best Buy that are like they're a little expensive, but it's like $20 for two.
Yeah.
Um
You could
which
just
is
control
an
it from your
expensive
phone.
light bulb, but yeah, I just download the Singlet app and I can make it any color. I can set scenes, and so I set
Yes.
it to different like I can have like my daytime lights, which are like normal lamp lights, and then I have like my evening lights, which are like a nice warm
Yes.
glow. Oh, it's wonderful. It's
And I feel
so
like
nice.
we could have a whole episode on that because there's actually
Yeah.
some really cool science behind why certain lights put us in certain moods.
Oh
And it
yeah,
all has
that
to do with like our
fascinates me.
circadian rhythm and whatnot. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I follow this lady on TikTok and I still can't remember her name. So I I want to give her credit, but I just can't.
For context, we did this episode once. We did this episode last Saturday, and then we had some tech issue and it was deleted. So we are redoing it. And I love the fact that the last time we did this episode, you were like, "Oh, there's a TikTok lady, and I don't remember her name." And we're coming back to this a week later, and we're
Yes,
just
and I was like, I'm gonna look up her name so people can like look. I'm going to find her. And you know what I
yeah,
didn't
for
do?
sure. That
Find her. I mean, I've seen some of that. That's like such a lie though, because I've seen her on
yeah.
TikTok in the past week, and I've been like, yeah, look at this lady go. She's doing great. But here I am, like, it's fine.
Whoever
But
you are,
yeah, thank
we'll
you.
give her credit at some point.
I will find her, even if it's in like
Yeah,
2 years. She will be linked in these episode notes.
yeah.
2 years.
It shouldn't take 2 years
It won't
because
because you're gonna remind me. I'm gonna give you that
yeah.
task.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You're pretty good at reminding me of things.
Yeah, I have a
Are
really
you
good
writing it down right
memory.
now?
I'm really good at memorizing. I'm not writing it down. I'm really good at memorizing stuff.
Yeah.
Set a reminder for today at 4 p.m. Remind Emily about the TikTok lady that cleans.
Is it in there?
Yep.
Cool, thanks.
That's a good little tip, actually. Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, but
Being
wait,
an
let me
assistant. Oh
but
yeah,
let me
finish.
tell
Yeah.
you about the TikTok lady. So
I'm sorry. I got so excited about the fact that you forgot who she was.
so the TikTok lady gave me some tips that really helped, so I'd like to share them with
Mhm.
all of you. So
Share 'em.
the first one is if you're trying to improve your habit just like daily, like maybe at the end of the day you just want to be better at like putting away some stuff. Start with like 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes or whatever. And I've done this where I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm a little overwhelmed with the stuff right directly in front of me. I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes and just take care of it for 5 minutes. And when it's done, I'll make the decision whether or not I want to continue or if I don't. And that's been really helpful for me because most of the time I start and then I'm on a roll, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna like, look over here, you just get this, and then I'll get this, and then my whole living room's clean, and I'm like, great, like that was great, like, and then
Yeah.
I feel good. So, but even
And
if you,
sometimes that motivates you to keep going even.
yes, but even if it doesn't motivate you to keep going, and you have that like five
It's
minutes,
fine.
cool, you set your timer for 5 minutes, like you're good to
Good
go,
job.
you know.
You did it.
So I definitely think that that's like wicked important to like understand as well, like
Wicked important, is it?
yeah.
I gotta call out the mass. I have to. You can't,
Yeah. I can't help it. I've been saying that forever though because
I know
my
you have.
dad's from Massachusetts. So
I know. But
that's
it's
been
really
part of my vocabulary.
I know it has been. I'm still going to call it out
Okay.
because it is
Well,
really funny.
it's wicked important.
Yeah, it's
to
wicked important because you're wicked smart.
But yeah, so I think it's important to have that like at 5 minutes. If you don't want to do anymore, don't do anymore. Like
Yeah,
that's
just stop.
important too.
Stop.
But also the other thing that has helped me because I know previously I would do like one room at a time. So it'd be like first I'd do the entire living room and then I do the entire kitchen. And that for me in my mind is a huge task, right?
Yeah.
So what she recommends for people who struggle with that, and maybe that's easier for some people to do one room at a time, but for me personally, I benefit from this little tip, which is start with the laundry. So go around and find all dirty clothes that need to be put in the hamper, or just like start your laundry
Yeah.
depending on what your laundry task is. Then move on to all the garbage. So go collect all the garbage that's around that you want to throw out and bring to your door or take outside or whatever, and then do that. And then the dishes, and then maybe like I don't know, spraying things down or dusting, but like do it for the entire house, right? First, so like all the laundry
Yeah.
in every single room, then all the dishes in every single room, then all the garbage in every single room. And then when you're done cleaning, you're done. And you don't have to think about
Yeah.
like, you know, and that's helped me because when I do one room, I'm like, oh, that felt great. And then I'm like, but now I don't want to do the bedroom. Like it's a lot of work. I have to start over. So like it's easier for
Yeah.
my brain to start one task at a time. And so that might be helpful for some people.
Yeah.
And then
That
I
makes sense.
think this, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, on the other hand, the way I like to do it, and this is, maybe just what works for me specifically. I find it really meditative to just let my ADHD like take the wheel.
Yeah.
Just really like step back and like go for it, man. Do your thing. And I'll just be like, I'm just gonna do whatever, like no plan. And I'll just kind of start cleaning, and then I'll be like, all right, let me take this thing, and I'm cleaning this area, and I'm gonna put this over here. Well, I can't put that there unless I clean this stuff up. Let me just clean this stuff up and then move this over here. Well, that's dusty. So let me just dust that off. And like, is it productive? Not always.
Well, I was just about to
Sometimes.
say, for you, it might be. For
For
me,
me, it tends to be because I think it depends on if your goal is like what your goal is. If you Are you
right.
trying to complete specific tasks, or are you trying to just clean in general for your mental health?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what I tend to do more is I'm just like, I need to clean for my mental health. I don't have like I want to clean my desk. I want to clean.
Right,
If
right,
I'm
right.
cleaning the bathroom, if I'm like the bathroom is dirty, that's a different thing because then I'm like, I'm cleaning the bathroom, and I
Yes.
will, I might jump between the sink, the toilet, the shower, and like, I when I do tasks, I tend to
Yeah.
do like a little bit, little more,
Yeah,
until it's all
I get
done.
that. Yeah, so
But
I think like you just said, if you're cleaning just to get some stuff done, go for it that way. But for
yeah,
me, and I brought this up the last time we recorded this episode too,
yeah,
like uh, my ADHD takes over and then things don't get finished. So
Yeah.
like my example
That is a risk.
my example was, that I've moved, like, 5 times in the past, like, 7 or 8 years, and every single time I've done that, somebody has walked in on me, like, mid-packing and been like, "You are never gonna get this done." And I'm like, "Listen, it's my process. I make things worse before they get better," as if it's, like, not ADHD, right? Like,
You
but what
probably look like that meme of Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory with all the marbles on the ground. He's just like, "I don't need sleep, I need answers."
Yes,
Just
literally
looking like
me.
a maniac.
Like, I will literally be packing to the point where you can't walk anywhere, and then I'm like, "This is good, we're close to being done," and other people walking in, they're like, and I'm like, "It makes
You're
sense,
like,
it makes
"I've actually made
sense."
so much progress. It's a system, but don't touch anything or I will
Literally.
fall apart."
Literally. So, yeah, so again, I think, you have to know yourself enough to be able to find out what,
Yeah.
like, works for you, but so I'm glad that that works for you, but for me, it'd be like, "Cool, I'm gonna take out the garbage," and then, like, I get distracted after I take out the garbage, and then there's no trash bag in the trash, and, like, the door's wide open, and, like,
Yeah.
and then I'm like doing something on the other side, and then I come back 6 hours later, or Victor comes home, and he's, like, putting a trash in the bag, and I'm like, "Oh, that's what I forgot to finish."
70 half completed tasks.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
again, you gotta
I
know
get that.
yourself. You gotta know
Yeah.
what works best for you, but, those are
We'll
just some
try
of the
some
things
shit.
that TikTok lady that I'm going to credit at some point,
Yeah.
has taught me. And
Um,
I think also, my last little tip, and this is something that I have found helpful, is
mhm.
just trying your best to stay consistent, but again, having that compassion for yourself if you can't one night. So, Victor and I, because he is a neurotypical human, um, and he sometimes gets a little frustrated with the clutter I leave around. But what we've tried to implement, and we've failed multiple times, but what because
Yeah.
correction, I have failed multiple times, but he's a very understanding individual.
Mhm.
um, so and he knows I'm working on it. Like, I'm genuinely trying to be better about it.
Yeah.
But one of the things is, like, if I do it with him, that helps. So, like, at the end of the night when we're both home, we spend 5 minutes together, just like picking up all the stuff from the day and like resetting. And that's helpful. And that happens in our main living space. In my office, that's a different story.
That's
Victor
a
Victor doesn't
yeah.
pick up stuff in my office because he knows that if he tried, I'd be like, "Where did the one square of bubble wrap go that was under the couch in the back right-hand corner?" And he'd be like, in the garbage?" And I'd be like,
Was that where it belonged? That was its specific spot.
"That's
That's where
I
I
was
keep it.
I was going to use
Yeah.
this to wrap that one crystal that I brought home 3 weeks ago that's in the refrigerator." Like,
Right.
or something
No,
stupid like that.
literally yesterday, Paolo came over and was like, "Hey, do you happen to have any like hand sanitizer? I just like took the subway and then just yeah." And I was like, "You know what? I actually do." And he goes, "Oh, where is it?" I was like, "Oh, it's on my desk behind my monitor on the left side, just like lying down."
That's
Because
great.
that's its spot.
That's where it
That's where
lives.
it is.
You
I don't
know,
know. It's not. I'm not gonna change that. It's not something, "Oh, I forgot to put it away." It's
you had me
that's where it
checking
is.
behind my monitors because there are some things there, and I was trying to remember if I've left anything back there because they're
Yeah.
very big. So I was like, "Hmm,
I actually have a story,
okay."
which is kind of the opposite of what not the opposite of what we're talking about, but the result of having extremely good cleaning habits, maybe, a little too far, um,
Okay.
down the line, yeah. Have I ever told you about when I worked on a vacuum commercial?
No.
I know I haven't told the audience, but I so
So this is
so
new
I
for
worked on
both of
a
us. All right, let me get my
yeah.
popcorn.
Yeah, yeah. Pull up a seat. So I was still in Connecticut at the time and was trying to get film work, wherever. And Tristan and I both landed PA jobs just through a connection on a vacuum commercial. It was like a New York team shooting in Connecticut. Um, and man, when I tell you, like, you can picture a vacuum commercial, it's pristine. What, like, you're selling cleanliness, and so the
Yes.
environment needs to look clean.
Like
When I tell
pure
you,
and white and just like, yeah.
right. But I think watching it on a commercial, there's this separation where you're like, not that it's necessarily a set, but You just know that that was like created,
Mhm.
and so it doesn't feel as jarring. It feels like, wow, what
Yeah.
a clean house. But when you go to one of those houses, like the house where the vacuum commercial was shot
Mhm.
looked like that. Like
Like
this
it was
wasn't something that
wait,
they
so this
put
is like a
together.
whole house, like, this is
This was
like
a home.
so they, like did they vet someone and be like, "Your home is clean enough for this commercial," or was this
Yes, that's what they do.
Mm,
Apparently, like this person who lives there, uh we only met like the mom and the daughter, and the mom, I guess, like rents out this house for like movies, commercials, stuff to like you. That's a thing. Some people make a living like that. It would like people make fucking bank doing that, man. Like
man, you just gave
I
me a
think
new
they told
business
me,
idea.
listen, I think the people running the commercial told me that renting that house for like a day or two was like $4,000. Like it's yeah,
I better start cleaning.
absurd. But listen, when I tell you like pristine actually became like a negative word. I've never
Interesting.
seen anything like it in my entire life. Everything was painted white. The railings, the like
So it was, like,
whatever
sterile
it's called,
looking.
the detail, it was
And you said she has a
sterile. Like
kid?
yes, that's what I wanted to get to.
Huh.
The house itself was like, there's no way anyone lives here. This looks like a set. Like this does not look lived in. In a sad sense, in a lot of ways. And then we saw her daughter come out, and we were just like, oh yeah, that checks out. This child was the personification of rebellion. This was like, she was probably like 13, 14, total punk rock look, total like, you could tell that this was a frustrating life for
Yes.
her. um this was it's one thing to be in like oh, we're a shoes off house.
Right.
That's fine, I understand that, that makes total sense. But this was like a we do not live here
Yes.
house.
And then
Like
there's me who's like, "No, don't take your shoes off, I'll vacuum later." Like, it's
god,
fine.
just imagine the pressure of
No.
being like a kid or a teenager and knowing that like in your house, in your space, if you make a mess that can't be like cleaned up, that affects your family's income. Whether or not it actually like affects their
I
income,
wonder
I'm
though.
sure that's the pressure put on by the
Right,
mom,
right. I also wonder too, like, how much of that is, like, more of an OCD slash, like, illness per
Right.
se.
It could be. I mean, I'm sure, it goes back to, I don't remember if we talked about this on one of the deleted episodes, but
So sad.
there was something I'd said. There was a great kind of point that I had heard recently about like personal trainers. That's like what you have to remember is that
Yes.
they don't look that way because they're personal trainers. They're personal trainers because they look that way.
Yes.
It was like, oh,
And
like that
and
just clicked.
that brought me to the idea of, like, how powerful our minds can be about this. And I think it's all about our mind frame, right? Like, if you tell yourself
Yeah.
every day, like, "No, I am organized, I am clean. When I get home, I'm gonna do this," then you're more likely to kind of stick to that and, like, have
Yeah.
those positive thoughts around it, and that's a big thing is, like, we just need to reframe the way we think about it. If it's a big task, instead of being like, "Oh, this task is just, like, so exhausting. I don't want to get up and do this," or like, "I don't have the motivation to do this." Maybe change it into something where it's like, "I'm going to feel better after I do this," or like,
Yeah.
and don't push it to where you're changing that every day to then when you are neglecting your restful time, but maybe just to be able to say like, I am organized. I can be organized. I will be organized. Just change those negative thoughts into some positive ones, and you'll probably slowly start to see that change happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it'd be really interesting to see. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll be better about that. Maybe I'll do
Hell
that every
yeah.
day. Every morning when I wake up, I'm going to say that to myself. I'll report back in a couple of weeks. I
Love
am
that.
organized. I am clean. Like, and just, we're going to try that.
Yeah. I
So,
think that's great.
and then instead of
And I
making cleaning such a big task, I'll be like, you know what? I can do that. It's not going to take long. And honestly, earlier in this episode, you taught me something. And I think that I'm going to do that is if it takes less than 60 seconds, I'm going to do it. Like if it's about
it's a
throwing a
good
cup away, like I'm going to do
it
it.
helped. It helps a lot. It's because once you get into that practice, it starts affecting a lot of other things. And but like what you have to keep in mind, I think in general, like going back to the trainer thing, is people who have insanely clean houses, it's not that they're not in the same situation as you. It's not that they're just like better than you, more capable than you. It's that the way their brain works, the way their life is organized, is one that makes that uh, a more doable task.
Yes.
And that's fine, and that's great for them.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that literally every single human on this planet thinks very differently. We all have a different brain. Like, not everybody's gonna be the same about this kind of stuff. So, just have some compassion for yourself. I think
Definitely.
that's our theme for this entire thing. So, I think we're at a good
That is our
place
theme.
to kind of wrap up.
I think so too.
So, wrap up for
So,
today.
wrap up.
1, pet some dogs.
Get a dog. Find a dog.
Find a dog.
Pet it.
Pet it. 2, have some compassion for yourself. Like, we're
Come on, guys.
busy. If you don't have time
Go
to
easy.
clean, just, it's okay.
We're all just people doing our best.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah. 3, the third point would be 5 minutes a
third
day.
point.
Start, if it's
5
really
minutes.
overwhelming, just 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever amount of time you can allot to changing that habit for yourself. Go for it.
Anything is better than nothing.
Yes. Or you can do the little strategy of like one thing at a time, like laundry, dishes, blah, 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 blah. Or one room at a time, whatever works best for you. But I think my last one for this is stay consistent in a healthy way. And 2, I would say to just be positive about it all. Just kind of like make it a positive experience. So like if turning on
Or an
music helps
experiment.
you, if turning on
Yeah.
music helps you, if just reframing your thoughts about it, just
Turn on
do what
some
you got to do
music.
to make yourself feel better.
Make yourself a little drink, maybe. Roll yourself a little joint, maybe. Make yourself a fun little snack. Just
Yeah.
make it a fun time.
Maybe reward
Enforce
yourself.
Positivity. Just make it as good as possible, and then you'll enjoy doing it.
Absolutely.
Science.
Yeah, science. Facts. Anyway, so thank you all for listening today. We hope that you found some helpful hints and there were some things that, you might find useful.
I know I did.
Me too, actually.
I
You
know I
taught me
found some
something.
stuff. Yeah, look at this. We're learning.
Yes, this is the whole
wonderful.
thing. It's free therapy for me and John, so,
It's amazing. Yeah, thank you all for providing us with what we cannot afford.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, thank you all again. We love you, and we will see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys. Cool. Okay, are we happy?